So Marvel Studios has changed the release dates for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, delaying each project by about 7 months. And this really does impact their Phase 6 slate, particularly the story that they're going to tell as we get closer to Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. For example, Spider-Man Brand New Day now comes out before Avengers Doomsday, whereas before it was coming out after, and it seemed like, based on all the reports that we had been hearing, Marvel Studios was kind of struggling to find a story for Spider-Man 4 because the movie was coming after Avengers Doomsday. However, we had been hearing that Marvel might have even been considering making it a prequel to Avengers Doomsday even though it was coming out after. Well, now they don't have to worry about that. They can do whatever they want with it, which is great news. And I was also surprised to see a lot of fans very excited about the delay because that means they could take more time making Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars a fantastic movie. And it does have the potential to be one of the biggest movies of all time, like Infinity War and Endgame. So we're going to go over the entire Phase 6 slate right now as it is for Marvel Studios. Plus, we are going to talk about some mystery projects that I think Marvel Studios is going to throw in there, especially because they removed some other mystery project release dates. And I think the reason for that might be because they actually want to release these projects before their previous planned release dates. But we'll break it down. Welcome everybody to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk about Marvel every day. Let's dive into what the rest of Phase 6 looks like for Marvel Studios. It begins next month with Ironheart. Now, you might not know that because Marvel hasn't really been doing any promotions for this recently. We did get our first trailer last week and the show officially comes out June 24th, but you might not see that much marketing for it because, as we'll talk about in this video, I don't think the story of Ironheart really lines up with the story that Marvel Studios wants to tell for the multiverse saga of the MCU, especially as we get into the Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday. Everything from there on out will pretty much have to do with the multiverse and Doom. And based on what we've heard, that's not what Ironheart's going to be about. But after Ironheart comes the Fantastic Four First Steps. Hitting theaters in about 2 months on July 25th, Marvel's first family finally makes their way to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this film will have Galactus and the Silver Surfer, Shalla-Bal, the female Silver Surfer, not Norrin Radd, because this movie takes place in an alternate universe. It's also going to introduce the son of Sue and Reed Richards, Franklin Richards, and he's going to most likely play a pretty big role in the overall multiverse saga because his powers are the ability to create universes. After that, on August 6th, we have the Eyes of Wakanda animated series. It's going to be 4 episodes long and follow the adventures of brave Wakandan warriors throughout history. And even though it's animated, head of Marvel Television Brad Winderbaum revealed that this series is going to be a part of the main continuity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it is canon. Then on October 3rd, we get Marvel Zombies right in time for Halloween, and it too will be 4 episodes long. Then after that, we get the Wonder Man series coming out in December. We do not have an official release date for it, but we know it's coming in December. It's going to be 8 episodes long, each episode being 30 minutes each. And we've heard it's going to be a very meta show, really breaking the fourth wall. Then in spring of 2026, there is no official release date yet, but we get the Punisher special presentation. This special presentation will pick up right after the events, the ending of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. And then right after this special presentation, we get Daredevil Born Again Season 2 in late March of 2026. Then we have your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2. Much like the first season, this is not going to be canon to the MCU. We don't have an exact release date for this yet, but it's said to be early 2026. But for Spider-Man Brand New Day, we do have our official release date, July 31st. Now here's where we really start to get into the big changes that Marvel Studios is going to be making. As I mentioned, originally Avengers Doomsday was supposed to release on May 1st, coming out right before Spider-Man Brand New Day. However, we had heard very recently from multiple different insiders that they had not finished the script for Avengers Doomsday yet. From what we've heard, it was mostly complete, but not fully complete. So this delay, this change, is welcomed by a lot of fans. That way they can take their time to get the story right for Doomsday and in turn Secret Wars. And I believe that's only part of the reason that Marvel Studios made this change. I believe the main reason is actually because of the overall story of the multiverse saga. Now, while I am excited for those projects like Wonder Man and the Punisher series, Daredevil Born Again Season 2, all of those, they don't tie into the overall story of the multiverse saga. And that's what Marvel Studios is trying to focus on. The Fantastic Four will dive us deep into it. If you you've seen the post-credit scene for the Thunderbolts, you know how. And then the Vision Quest series, which is scheduled for 2026, we don't have any release date or even a month for it, but 2026, that will also start to dive a little bit into the overall Multiverse Saga story, because based on what we've heard, the Vision Quest series is supposed to kind of lead to the Young Avengers team. It also brings the return of Vision, of course, and Ultron. But then we get into the story of Spider-Man Brand New Day, and the story of Doomsday, and then these mystery projects in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. Again, I believe Marvel Studios made these changes so they could actually make some changes to Spider-Man Brand New Day, and those changes are basically to make it whatever they want it to be. Originally, Spider-Man Brand New Day was supposed to come before Avengers Doomsday anyways, but with it coming after, although definitely possible to do, it was a bit more complicated story-wise. And Marvel wants everything to be as smooth as it can be after not being so smooth for Phase 4 and Phase 5. And they want Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday, and if they were going to go the route of having Spider-Man Brand New Day be a film that takes place at the same time or even before Avengers Doomsday, then Spider-Man most likely wouldn't have been in Doomsday, and if he was going to be in it, it would probably only be for a little bit. But now they can tell whatever story they want. It could be grounded, it could be a street level story, it could turn into a big multiversal project. It's whatever they want. But now they also have a pretty big gap in between Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday, and I believe that there's going to be a mystery project in between there, possibly in November. Now, of course, this is not confirmed. This is just speculation, but again, Marvel Studios also removed 2 untitled Marvel projects from their release schedule. One was November 6th, 2026, and the other November 5th, 2027. So the November 6th, 2026 release date was going to come out before Avengers Secret Wars. Most people believe this was most likely going to be a Doctor Strange 3, a Shang-Chi 2, perhaps a solo Scarlet Witch film. So the question is, why did they remove that? Well, since they've shuffled some things around, I believe they have shuffled the story around, and perhaps they want a film like Doctor Strange 3 to go before Avengers Doomsday, because that would make sense based on what we saw in the post-credit scene for Doctor Strange 2. Clea showing up and telling Strange he caused an incursion and they're gonna go fix it. This would mean Doctor Strange 3 would explore incursions on a much more deeper level, and it's most likely there where he would start to kind of run into what Doctor Doom was trying to do. This would also be very beneficial for Marvel because this would give them time to kind of start to pre-introduce Doctor Doom, start to build him up as the main threat. And they could also do this in Spider-Man Brand New Day. They could allude to Doom at the end or in a post-credit scene for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Then they could do the same thing in Doctor Strange 3, and maybe the Fantastic Four will allude to him a little bit. But this way, they would have build-up for Doom, because we have zero build-up for Doom so far. Thanos was teased many times throughout the MCU's Infinity Saga, and we know that Marvel Studios has been trying to market Doom and Robert Downey Jr.'s return, but they still need to build him up. And I think they know that, which is probably why they'll tease him in some projects before Doomsday. And although it would definitely be tight for Marvel, they could film Spider-Man Brand New Day and Doctor Strange 3 back to back and make it work. That way we get Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in Avengers Doomsday, which was kind of a question at this point in time. Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor who plays Doctor Strange, said that he wasn't going to be in Doomsday, but then corrected himself later on, stating that he misspoke and he is going to be in Doomsday. So there could be a good build up to Doom here with Spider-Man Brand New Day, a Doctor Strange 3 project, and hopefully the Fantastic Four. But then after Avengers Doomsday, based on what we heard before from insiders and based on what happens at the end of Avengers Doomsday, which we believe will be the destruction of the multiverse, the projects between Doomsday and Secret Wars might all take place on Battleworld, which is a report that we heard in the past. And this would give us a chance to dive into Thor 5, or a World War Hulk project, which has been rumored to be in the works for a while now. In fact, one of the insiders has recently stated that they have heard Marvel Studios is going to reveal Thor 5, World War Hulk, and Doctor Strange 3 at San Diego Comic-Con this year. If that is true, based on what we've seen so far from the Multiverse Saga and its trajectory, we should get something like Spider-Man Brand New Day, Doctor Strange 3, Avengers Doomsday, Thor 5, World War Hulk, both of those taking place on Battleworld, and then Avengers Secret Wars. Now, they did remove that November 5th of 2027 slot, which would have come after Secret Wars, but most people believed that slot was probably for the X-Men film. So that being removed and the X-Men film possibly being pushed back a little bit is fine, because Avengers Secret Wars, of course, has been pushed back as well to the 17th of December 2027. So obviously the X-Men movie, which is supposed supposed to come after it has been pushed back as well, but they need that time to make sure the script is perfect for the new X-Men film. It looks like Marvel's cooking here. I'm definitely loving that they're taking their time to do this and that they can do whatever story they want in whatever order that they want now. So that is Phase 6 and what we think is going to be the end of Phase 6, including Marvel's mystery projects, but hopefully we find out at San Diego Comic-Con in a couple of months. In the meantime, go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest Marvel news, rumors, and leaks. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.